The last missing piece is how to compute the LCP array. We found good use for it now. Now we're eager to construct it as well. And clearly it has to be linear time. Otherwise, we're not happy. We have to do it in linear time, which means we can't naively just compute it by scanning. So one option is, if you have the suffix array, you could just take your adjacent suffixes and compare them. How many characters do they have in common? And write down the number. But in an extreme case, the text of all a's again, each of these steps could essentially be linear time. So quadratic overall, no good. We need something smarter. And the key idea is best seen on an example. This procedure is expensive exactly when the numbers in the LCP array are big. But when that's the case, we actually know quite a bit. Just the knowledge is a bit inconvenient the way it presents itself. Let's look at a long text with a lot of repetition, so that there's a good chance for long shared prefixes. That's this lovely text, buffalo, 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 which you can add a substantial amount of buffaloes to, and it still makes a grammatically correct sentence. But that's besides the point. Let's say you take the first suffixes of this text in sorted order. First one is just $1, but then things become a bit more interesting. There's all these guys starting with ALO. I wonder why ALO dollar is missing. That's before the space, right? Whatever, somehow that got lost. There's maybe another character that is not printable, so you don't see it. And it messes up the sorting order. Let's pretend the text has these suffixes. My point is, if you have two suffixes that are adjacent in sorted order and they share a long common prefix, guess what? If you take away the first character of both, they still share essentially the same prefix, except for the first character that they both lost. So if the LCP here has a large value, removing the first character gives you another place where there's a long shared prefix. The only problem is that we don't know where that is. And it might even be nowhere at all, because who knows if chopping off one character leaves these two suffixes adjacent. Maybe there's another suffix now that smuggles in between, because we've removed a character. A lot of things could happen. So this insight is useful, but using it productively seems to require a trick. And the trick is what Kasai et al. Used for their very lovely algorithm, which is just compute the LCP values in a clever order following your knowledge. And then you can maximally reuse what you've learned. If you ever spend a lot of time following many shared characters, you can profit from that for a good while and produce many big LCP values for cheap. So how does that work? Again, my favorite picture from before, the suffixes in text order, suffixes in sorted order. Kasai et al. Says, just compute the LCP values in text order and everything will fall in place. Let's do that. The first is obviously this one, the entire text. Now, this doesn't get an LCP value. An LCP value is always between a suffix and the previous one in the alphabetic order. So for knowing which one that is, we have to move to the right. So we use the rank array and find that we're actually working in position 6 here in the LCP array. And the previous suffix is this guy. Now, initially we know nothing, so we have to pay for finding the shared prefix. And here it stops. So we can we can write down our first LCP value, 3. Now we want to maximally reuse what we learned, or maximally reuse the work we have done. So we get rid of the first character, which is the same as moving to the next suffix in text order. But where is that guy to be found? Well, we have to look at the rank array and find it over here. Now, it has some previous suffix in the sorted order, and we don't know if that is ban without B. It actually isn't, right? That one's up here. There's someone else in between. But these two shared AN, these two shared AN. Everything in between has to share AN as well. Maybe more, but at least these two. So we inherit that these two characters are shared. And we can start computing the next LCP value from 2 onwards. And in this case, we did get another shared character that wasn't here before. So it's another entry 3. And we keep going like this. I animated the entire example. So we go to the next suffix in text order, find where it belongs here. We inherit the 2 characters and check if there's more. There isn't here. So it's just a 2. That's it. Going to the next one in text order, find it over here using the rank array, inherit 1 character, check 1 more, another LCP value 2, and you keep going. Okay? And that way, you see, if you ever have to scan a lot through the text, that's fine, but then you're not going to pay in all the subsequent large LCP values much more because you've already made a good way through the strings. It gets shorter and shorter as you go through. And if you write this down as proper code, you get something like this. There's an outer loop for the position in the text. That's the scanning on the left. Then you find where are we on the right. You find the position, the starting position of the suffix that is 1 above you in sorted order. That's the I-1. And you may have remembered some shared characters L from the previous iteration, initially none. But you skip the first L characters of these 2 suffixes when you do the comparison. As long as they're equal, you increment L. Once you're done, L is the LCP of these 2 suffixes. So you write that one down. And for removing the first character, make L 1 smaller, unless it's already 0. And then you repeat. I think in code, this is even simpler and maybe subtler to follow than in the example. So I hope the order of presentation helped. Let's quickly analyze this. That's clearly in the code even clearer. The dominant operation is the number of character comparisons. And as for sorting, remember from last time, even it's a while ago, it's clever to compute the number of comparisons you do separately for the ones that come out as equal and the ones that come out as not equal. The ones that come out as not equal are always those that stop this inner loop, and that means there's 1 of them per outer loop iteration, so linear. It's only 1 per value of I. The ones that come out as equal, there may be maybe many, but they always increment L. And L always remains below N and is decremented only by 1 here. So you can't increment it by more than 2n by n overall. I guess 2n overall, right? Yeah. You increment it once here, you decrement it once here. At most 2n for sure. So you have a linear number of character comparisons in the entire algorithm. So the entire algorithm is linear time as well. Now, because these are so useful already, this combination of the suffix array, maybe with the inverse suffix array, and the LCP array has been given an extra name, the enhanced suffix array. Maybe it's not a good name, but it is a name. It usually means at least these 3, sometimes additional structures. And you could say it's the modern version of suffix trees that when you try to solve string problems at scale, you would go to such an approach as opposed to suffix trees. It is a bit harder to reason about, at least for me personally, but anything about the implementation speaks for it. One good way to think about them is design an algorithm for suffix trees and then compile it to work on enhanced suffix arrays. Usually is actually not the second step is not hard to do. And indeed, we've seen for many of the things you can do on suffix trees already how to do it. For example, string matching, we kind of saw, except that with a slowdown, but we'll work on that. The cross here doesn't mean it's not possible. It's just that we haven't done it yet. We've looked at LCP values. The internal nodes in a suffix tree are essentially the LCP values or these intervals. So we kind of have those. What we haven't looked at is longest common extension queries. And remember from even the chapter before suffix trees, we've heavily used them for the inexact string matching. And we left it as a black box how to do them. So that's up for next time. And there's another a nitpick on suffix links, essentially the things that showed up in AHO Corosic that you could add easily to suffix trees. And we haven't talked about it for suffix arrays, but these are easy. The main open one is this one and the matching time.